if you eliminate 4/7 of the car tax, that's 500 whatever $1 million. So our plan would put 580 something $1 million back in the pockets of the people of Rhode Island.
And this is basically said using the tool on the existing spending habits of Rhode Islanders to know.
Yeah, that's not even using the tool. That's just pretty much a straight line calculation. The tool then calculates what we call the dynamic scoring, the dynamic impact, or the ripple effect. Oh, if all these new people are coming in to buy products because the price is just going down, or the sales tax is going down by that much, what will that do? And those increased thousands of new jobs, how much more income tax would that create, and how much more other fees and licenses, and it calculates all those things, and it shows you that when the dust settles, the 3% sales tax will only require budget impact of under $100 million. Where the speaker's plan is $215 million, but yet doesn't produce many jobs. And the governor's plan, she wants to do 1/3 of the car tax plus her free tuition. That's about $100 million as well, but that doesn't really produce any jobs. Ours, for less budget impact, we get a lot more jobs.
So who, advocates at the assembly? Who you got on your side here?
Well, I don't know yet. Our first thing is just to put out the data, and we've been contacted by 2 people.
From the assembly?
From the assembly, who are interested in potentially sponsoring the bill. There was a 3% sales tax bill 4 years ago put in by then Representative Malik. So the legislation actually already exists. Now, you could change it, you could either phase it. I think he brought it to 3% immediately. I mean, there's a lot of discussion you can have. Do we phase it down, or do we do it all in one big shot? Of course, the one big shot would produce the most dramatic impact, but also be the riskiest, right? So you got to think about this. But anyway, I hope that soon. I know we're past the official bill submitting period, but I'm hoping those discussions will lead somewhere.
Do you think it's you put the numbers forth and they make sense, but to the average person, do you think just hearing the car tax repeal just sounds sexier? But do you think it's just a matter of telling folks from your vantage point what you see and what you've put through the models, or the advantage of the 3% sales tax? Is this an education type of activity to convince Rhode Islanders that this is what's in their best interest, and in the same token urge legislators to do the same? Is it a really kind of hands-on approach?
I actually see it as more of education to lawmakers, because the one thing I didn't mention, depending on how the speaker and the governor propose to pay for their programs, the free tuition of this, it actually could produce negative economic impact. If we raise other taxes to pay for those two, because those two don't have a lot of stimulative effect, the negative stimulation of raising other taxes could actually create loss of municipal revenues and loss of jobs. So the lesson is you got to be careful. You can't just throw, and this is what we're asking the speaker and the governor. We've researched this. We've run this through a model. I haven't seen any plan or research presented on the impact, the long-term impact, other than it's a good idea. Sure, it's a good idea to reduce the car tax. Sure, it's a good idea for your kids to go to school tuition free. But what's the impact? Someone's got to do the research here. And we got to get back to jobs, and because jobs, right? If we're going to focus on jobs, then we got to look at all 3 proposals. So all we want to do is have a good, robust debate on this. That's all.
Now, are you saying go to 3% and don't address the car tax and don't address college tuition? Is there any hybrid approach here?
We're not saying either of that. We're just saying let's get a third option in the hat. Let's run it through the ringer. Let's see what academics and lawmakers and the public and the media and other think tanks might think of it, and hopefully we'll come up with the right solution. All we're asking is don't close your mind to what we think is a really good idea, and that will accomplish exactly the 2 things the governor and speaker said they want to accomplish: jobs.
Now, I just want to read a couple more of the bullet points off that you sent in your release out. So you say it's going to produce thousands of new jobs and require lower budget cuts. And then you said creates a major revenue windfall for municipalities that could go a long way towards funding local self-phase out of the car tax. Do you think municipalities would act responsibly in this case if this were to take effect?
Well, that would be up to them. What it would show, because of all these new jobs, businesses would either be created or expanded, and every business lives in some city. So that means that the commercial property tax base is going to expand. And the model estimates that will do it to a net across the state of $111 million. speaker's car tax plan is 215 million. So that's half of it right there. Now, the cities and towns would have to use that money to then reduce the car tax, but we're saying that would give them a tool, or would give them a new revenue stream to replace any reductions they might make in the car tax. So that's one of the windfall benefits of the sales tax, is we could almost have our cake and eat it too.
And you mentioned too, then allow families with the more money in the pocket, again, to address the college tuition issue.
Yeah, I mean, apparently if $580 million is going to be saved through our, for consumers and our car tax, and the sales tax versus 215, people are spending more on sales tax than they are on car tax. That's the logical deduction. I'm sure some families it might be one way or the other. So, yeah, if you want, save that money for college. So again, all we're saying is you want to fund these programs, sales tax gives us a lot of benefits.
So the report is on the Center for Freedom and Prosperity's website.
rifreedom.org.
rifreedom.org.
Right at the top of the page, can't miss it.
I'm sure it's front and center.
Right there.
Got it, excuse me, in the release over here. So you sent the release out, you're talking with the press, you're talking with legislators. Is that just sort of the next step, is increasing the conversation and awareness around it right now?
Yeah, I think so. We know, we recognize we're a little late in the legislative process, but there's usually ways around that. I even had a conversation, I'll say, with former Representative Jan Malik, who did sponsor. And I'll tell you one thing, that the Department of Revenue itself, the State Department, put out a report a few years ago, because one of the byproducts of our push a few years ago is they did eliminate the sales tax, if you remember, on liquor and wine. And that industry saw huge increases in the next 2 years, 14% and then another 3% in the 2 years after. Where else have we seen growth like that in this state, right? How would you like to have 14% growth in this state?
Wow.
Well, those industries, so people want a little proof. So Jan, former Representative Malik, could be a good testimony to the effect, because he owns a liquor store.
He does indeed.
Yeah.
Might have to bring him in here to go local
Let's
live.
do it.
So we had spoken about this last time you were in. This is really a focal point for the center this session and this year. Again, what else are the next steps as we look forward? Here we are in March. Obviously, you're bigger than the Assembly, but obviously the nuts and bolts are how the state is run. What are you going to be doing next?
Well, we're hoping to weigh in soon on the energy debate, specifically the proposed Burrillville power plant. It's another area where we're just not, with deep water coming online and the high cost of that electricity, with some of the other green energy mandates in the state. And while it's good that we cut the sales tax on industry for energy, but the cost of energy is going up because of our policies. So this Burrillville plant gives us a chance to produce low-cost energy and lower the rates of every family and every business. And a lot of businesses pay a lot in energy costs. So it's good to have the sales tax gone. That's great, Governor. Thank you, Speaker. But it would be better if we even had lower energy rates as well. So that'll be something we'll be weighing in on soon as well.
Now, obviously, you know that there's been a big, and actually, some I'm going to have into power plant. What do you have to say to folks who have that in my backyard? This is not what we need. This is not clean. There's quite a sizable opposition to it. You speak simply from the cost saving standpoint. Do you think that they have a valid argument on the opposition side?
Well, they have valid sentiments. I understand the NIMBY attitude, but we don't think public policy should be designed to advance a dubious agenda. Some people believe in climate change, some people don't. What we should do is policy that helps our families. In this case, lowering Rhode Island has a very high cost of energy compared to the rest of the states that are neighbors. So here's something that's clean. It's not a renewable energy, but it's, natural gas power plant is very low on the carbon emission scale. Let's do something that's clean, that's low cost, that will lower the prices for all of us. And I think it's a win-win across the board. So while I appreciate their concerns, I don't think this power plant is a problem for those concerns.
Do you expect to put, like you did with this report here with a 3% sales tax, do you expect something numbers based, or is it more a general overview of how you perceive this as lowering the cost of energy?
We're doing a fundraising letter this week. We have a proposal to fund a study on that. I got to raise the money first. So rifreedom.org, if you want to see that energy report, go there right at the top of the page, big yellow donate, and we'll get that report done.
What do you think the price tag is associated with that?
Oh, we never talk.
No, never talk price tags, but they could clearly
Multiple thousands of dollars, obviously, yeah.
For the
We'd have to hire a third party. We don't have the expertise of the modeling tool in-house, so we'd have to go third party to hire a firm. And we have located an entity that has such a modeling tool. And
so that would be the next thing on the agenda then.
we're hoping to be able to take that step.
Okay. As you know, we're looking here at Superman. I had Stephen Pryor in, I had Bill Fisher, and we're still waiting to hear, again, if there's interest from potentially business tenants, and of course, they would look to some state incentives. Are you keeping an eye on the Superman building?
Yeah, we are. We don't think that would be a good deal. It's a great icon, but icons come and go. So we need to focus again on providing the money you would put into Superman, the money you would put into college tuition, the money we're already put into other corporate welfare programs could easily pay for a reduction of the tax of 3%, and that would help every Rhode Islander and create more job opportunities that every Rhode Islander might be able to take advantage of. It's time we get our priorities straight. It's about us, the people of Rhode Island, doing something for us, not doing something for the big corporations that own these buildings.
And big corporations, big owners, Pawtucket Red Sox. What do you think is going to happen there?
I don't know. It's that's obviously near and dear to my heart. But again, if a business can't survive on its own, we've got to take a hard look at that. Now, we're not against every corporate welfare idea. The Pawtucket Red Sox are a bit unique in that they bring out-of-state revenue in. People come from Massachusetts, Connecticut, even Vermont, and even New Hampshire to come see the games. It's one of only 32 AAA teams in the whole country, so it is a jewel. What we object to is the corporate welfare as the core basis of our economic development strategy, which is the state's economic development strategy based on that Brookings Institution report that we should spend money on advanced industries or businesses. It's okay every now and then to do a couple of those, but corporate welfare should not be the basis for an economic development strategy, and that's where I would disagree with Secretary Pryor.
And where do you think, just from a pure baseball perspective, if the owners were to fund it by themselves, stay at McCoy or look at an Apex option?
Oh, I don't know. There's a lot of considerations. You have to look at infrastructure and traffic patterns and all that, and I'm not capable of doing that. I would say that we either way, funding money for the Red Sox, Superman, or anything else really should be considered a luxury when your state's going well. We're not going that well right now. And we got to, again, first things first. We got to take care of the people of the state first. So I think it's a long sell for the people of Rhode Island. It's a long sell for our, as much as I would love to see the Pawtucket Red Sox stay there. I played for that team. I struck out on that field many times. Hit a couple of home runs. But again, it's a luxury, and we should only do very few of those luxury deals. I'm not totally discounting it because it might be a special case. Like we agreed with the Norwegian case. Mm-hmm. That's a special deal. Mm. That brings international people to our state. Hopefully business people got a lot of money to spend in our restaurants and hotels and whatnot. And it probably will lower prices for everybody else who want to fly to Europe. So it has those kinds of ripple effects.
Even though there were some incentives associated
Even though there were incentives, we agreed with those. We agreed with the Speaker and the Governor on those issues. Pawtucket could be in that category, but I don't know yet. The deal last time was not a good deal. Let's just go there.
We'll see. That took obviously a lot of, it was just the oxygen in the state was really focused on that at the time. So we're keeping tabs on Superman, we're keeping tabs on PawSox, but again, here today I'll talk about healthcare reform and then lowering the sales tax to 3%, put forth a report.
Yep.
Center for Freedom and Prosperity. You can see it online. Check it out.
And don't worry, on healthcare reform, nobody's going to have the rug pulled out from under them. Why not? I was on a call. Can I say one more thing? I was on a call last Friday with my colleagues in other states and with some of the actual U.S. congressional leaders who are crafting the bill. They did a conference call, think tank groups nationally. And they made that very clear. Nobody is going to have the rug pulled out from under them. They can choose whether or not they buy insurance, but people on Medicaid, nobody's